So a transformation is a change in a figure. It could be just a change in a point. It could be just a change in the way a triangle looks or a way a square looks, but it's just a change. And with transformations, it includes all of the kinds. It includes the translations. It includes reflections. It includes rotation. Okay? The image is what you get after you do the transformation. I'm running out of room there. So it's the image you start with. I'm probably not supposed to end that sentence with, but okay. With the pre-image, it'll usually say like ABC, and the image usually has the A prime and the B prime and the C prime. Just in case you need to see those words and remember which is which. A translation is a move, and it's right, left, up, and down. So it's any move, and it can go any combination of those things. It can go right and up, it can go left and down, it can go right and down, so whichever way. Or it could just go up or down, it could just do one of those. But it's a move, where you pick it up and you just move it to somewhere else. Okay. With a translation, the figure doesn't change. The size is the same, the way it looks is the same, everything's the same about it, it's just at a different location. Okay? Okay. So there's 3 different ways that you can write a translation. The first way is just to say specifically which way to move it. 3 units left, 5 units up. That way is pretty simple. We understand what that means. The next way, they might write X, Y, and the arrow, and then they'll say X and then Y, and they might have something with it. Okay? What that means is XY becomes this new thing. Okay? Well, if we're going to move it, I'm going to keep with that 3 units left and 5 units up. What happens is you take X and you subtract 3. That's 3 units left. Because you started at X and now you're going left 3. Okay? And then 5 units up is the Y, and then you move it up 5. So there's a plus 5 on the end of that one. Okay? So that's another way you might write it. It might just say move it this way, or it might say this elaborate XY becomes this new thing. And that means left 3 and add 5. Okay? Another way it might write it, and it's pretty simple though, they just might actually put the 2 numbers, -3 and 5, right there. Okay? That's called a vector. And in science, you might recognize that as a vector. A vector is just a component, and it sort of tells you which direction and how long it's supposed to be. But that's another way that they might write it. Okay? So you might see, do this translation, but they might write it one of those 3 ways. Okay? Question so far? All right, so let's look at some examples. These are some examples of these symbols. Okay? So the first one says X minus 3, Y minus 4. Okay? The minus 3 is with the X. So which way do they think that's going to move? Left. This one says Y minus 4. That's with the Y. So down. So what you would write in words here is left 3, down 4. So number 2, that was another way that they could write it. And they might not write the X and the Y with it. They might just write the numbers. The first one still has to do with X. The second one still has to do with Y. So this would be right and left. So which way? Right 4, down 2. Good job. So this would be left 6, and then you don't move any right and left, so you don't even have to write anything about moving left and right. Okay, so 4 and 5 is going the opposite way, where instead of writing the words, we have to figure out the symbols. Okay, so it says up 2. Okay, I'm going to write it the third way because I think the third way is simpler. Okay, I want you to be able to recognize all the ways, and you can write it whichever way you want to write it, but I'm going to write it the third way just because it's simple to write. Okay, so up 2 has to do with the y value. Up is positive. So would the 2 go second or first? Second. So I'm going to put a 2 here, and then I don't do anything left and right, so I put a 0 there. Make sense? Okay. If I put it like this, so it says down 3 and left 4. It's tricky because they switched it on you. You see how they put down 3 first? Well, I still don't put that first, though, because I know up and down has to do with the second one. So down 3 has to go second here. Okay, so it's negative 3. Left 4 has to go first because right and left goes first. It's left, so it's negative, so it will go here. 6 says, what is the image of point A, 2, 4, after a translation, xy becomes x minus 1, y plus 2. Okay, so let's just talk about what x minus 1, y plus 2 means. What does that mean? The minus 1 part, what would that mean? Left 1. And then the plus 2 part would mean up 2. So it wants to take that point 2, 4, and then we want to move it left and then up. What you can do is you just take these values, and that's what you add and subtract to that point that you start with. Because that's what you do with translations. You just add and subtract the numbers. So we're going to subtract 1 on the 2, and we're going to add 2 on the 4. Because that was the 2 points it gave you right there. And so our new point, A prime, is 1, 6. Because 2 minus 1 is 1, and 4 plus 2 is 6. Now, I know that some of you like to graph it better, and if you'd rather graph it and then move it, you can do that. But you would get the same thing. Any questions? Same similar thing is going to happen on number 7. We start off with this point A, which is negative 1, negative 3. And we want to do a translation of 2, negative 5. The 2 means right. The negative 5 means down. But really, I'm just going to take those two numbers and add them to those two numbers, because that will give me what that translation would be. So I'm going to take a 2 and a negative 5 here, and I'm just going to put it together. So A prime would be, so what's negative 1 plus 2? 1. Negative 3 minus 5, negative 8. Okay, any questions?